From Conflict to Calm, Part 2. Imagine the worst ever storm at sea. That is what Raven Eye was witnessing. Imagine the worst ever battle at sea. That is what Raven Eye was witnessing. However, there was something else that had caused his shock and horror. Are those children that are fighting? Raven Eye turned towards the Major, a look of disbelief painted all over his face. Sadly they are, dear fellow, Major Fearonome shouted above the storm and battle. You could call it your light infantry. They are indeed infants, and they are fighting on your behalf. What? Raven Eye hung his head in shame, almost unable to watch the battling children, especially as it appeared they were fighting because of him. Look at the scene you have created, Raven Eye. It is fundamental that you do not shy away from anything that you have created. It has to be seen to be resolved, and that is why you must be here. What can you see, Raven Eye? The Major moved closer to Raven Eye so he could be heard above the raging storm. I can't look, Raven Eye wailed in despair. And how can I do anything about it? I can't even move with this protective cloak on. It's too heavy. Well, young chap, you do not need to do anything physically to sort this mind battle out. It started in your mind space, so that is where it will be resolved, with your thoughts. Eh? A look of confusion crossed Raven Eye's face. How can I stop the battle if I can't get involved? You know, Raven Eye crossed his arms defensively and looked belligerently at the Major. An army soldier once told me attack is the best form of defence, and he should know because he was trained for battles. Ignoring Raven Eye's petulance, the Major smiled gently. Ah, yes. And how does that tactic appear to be playing out? Pointing to the battle scene, the Major looked over towards Raven Eye, one eyebrow quizzically raised. Not very well, actually. Raven Eye looked humbly at the floor, then up towards the Major. Please help me. I don't know what to do. Ah, that's what we love to see. Your honesty and humility has returned. Good on you, young fellow. We'll have this sorted out in a jiffy. You simply need to surrender and do exactly as I say. The Major pointed over towards the battle scene again. So, first things first, you must look closely at the battle scene and describe what you see. Ever so slowly, Raven Eye turned his head towards the battle scene. Try and tell me as calmly and neutrally as possible, what do you see? Raven Eye almost didn't want to look, and yet he knew he had to look to truly see what was going on, so he could sort it out. Well, he slowly turned his gaze directly onto the battle scene. I can see what looks like two sides fighting. Aha, the Major nodded encouragingly. Do go on. On one side, the battleships have a sign saying Armed Forces, and on the other side, the battleships have a sign saying The Resistance, and they seem to be fighting each other. Oh! Raven Eye winced as he looked into the middle of the scene. What have you spotted, Raven Eye? The Major moved so close that his curly moustache tickled Raven Eye's cheek, soaking up a tear trickling down from his eye. Oh, How sad. Raven Eye's face crumpled as he stared at a tiny little rowing boat in the middle of the battle scene. He pointed with a shaking hand. There's a little boy cowering in that boat. He almost looks like a shriveled shadow. Major Fearonome gently patted Raven Eye on the head. What is this showing you? I don't know, wailed Raven Eye, bursting into tears. But it doesn't look good. What is it showing me? Glad you asked, young fellow. What you are witnessing here is a power struggle, and that tiny little boy in the boat is your genius self. I don't understand. Raven Eye's head slumped in despair. Please help me. Of course, dear boy. The Major pointed towards the armed forces battleship. These are all your wanting thoughts, or what you might call your attacking thoughts. And those, the Major glanced over towards the resistance battleships, are your not wanting thoughts. Some might say your defensive thoughts. That little boy in the midst of the conflict is the real you, your true genius self. Seeing the confusion on Raven Eye's face, the Major continued. Every time you have thoughts of wanting or not wanting, they take a bit of your true power to come to life in your mind space, and you can see very clearly how much this is depleting your genius self of its power. I don't want this to happen, blurted out Raven Eye in a rage. Look what you have just caused! The Major turned Raven Eye's head firmly towards the little boat. Raven Eye gasped in horror as he saw a ball of light being pulled out of his genius self and floating towards the resistance ship. I wanted to stop, he cried. Another ball of light was extracted out of his genius self and floated towards the armed forces ship. Both transformed into children, who started shouting at each other across the ocean surface. The little genius self boy flinched and shrank back down in his boat. And now you witness exactly what effect your conflicting thoughts have, Raven Eye. Shaking his head, the Major looked forlornly on the scene. How can I help my true genius self? Moaned Raven Eye, almost in defeat. That's the spirit, young chap. Things have gone far enough. The solution is quite simple, really. Please tell me. Raven Eye looked beseechingly towards Major Fearonome. I'm ready to learn. Aha! The Major slapped his thigh in delight. You've reached the next stage of your basic training. You are willing to learn. Please answer my question, Raven Eye implored. I need to sort this out straight away. Ah, enthusiasm and motivation to learn and resolve the issue, beamed the Major. A perfect student. So, on to the solution. As I said, it really is quite simple. Raven Eye fidgeted with impatience. Patience, dear boy, chuckled the Major. Listen very carefully. Number 1. Become aware of your wanting thoughts and not wanting thoughts. The pesky little fellows have a habit of popping into the mind space without warning. Number 2. Whatever you do, do not try and defeat these thoughts. They will fight back and grow even bigger, as you have already seen. Not wanting, the wanting thoughts, or not wanting thoughts, creates resistance. Major Fearonome paused for a moment to let this sink in. Are you still following me? I think so. Raven Eye's brow furrowed in deep concentration. So, what you are saying is that if I resist the wanting thoughts or not wanting thoughts, it causes even more resistance. Bravo! I believe he's got it. The Major nodded gleefully. Number 3. A good technique is to imagine those thoughts to be bubbles. Do not try and burst them. Simply let them float off into your mind space, where they will eventually just pop naturally and disappear in the ocean of consciousness. Raven Eye nodded, his attention fully focused on Major Fearinome. Have you noticed anything? The Major asked, nodding over towards the battle scene, where all had gone very quiet. Following his gaze, Raven Eye whooped with delight. The children have stopped fighting, yeah! And you achieve that, Raven Eye, simply by becoming aware of the conflict, having a willingness to learn how to resolve it, and focusing your attention on my guidance. Things have calmed down somewhat, eh? What about my genius self, though? It still looks very shriveled and depleted. Ah, very good question, young fellow. And that leads me to the final step. You are now ready to regenerate your genius self to bring back its true power. This is also a very simple step. Raven Eye continued to listen attentively to the Major. He was determined to bring back the true power to his genius self. Number 4. Simply have appreciating thoughts. I'm not sure what you mean. Raven Eye scratched his head in confusion, looking to the Major for inspiration. The Major smiled gently. Simply transform your wanting thoughts and not wanting thoughts into thoughts of what you do have and why you are so grateful for them. Appreciating thoughts are very powerful. Your genius self loves them. One could say, the more you appreciate, the more your genius self appreciates. The Major guffawed at his own joke. Then, seeing Raven Eye's bewildered expression, he carried on explaining. Appreciating thoughts magnetize the power back to your genius self, which enables it to grow, to appreciate in power, and then it can create more things for you to appreciate. You will see this in action in a moment. I think I get it. This was all new to Raven Eye, a new way of thinking. I may need your help to practice, though. Of course, dear boy. Clapping his hands with delight, the Major continued. Practice makes perfect, as they say, and there's no time like the present. So, let's practice now, and you will see the effect your new way of thinking has. So, what's the first thing that pops into your head when I ask, what do you have? Raven Eye closed his eyes. The thought popped in rather suddenly. I live in a really great house, he exclaimed, looking rather surprised. Gosh, I've never had that thought before. I really do live in a lovely house. He grinned sheepishly at the Major. And why are you grateful to live in that house? The Major gently encouraged. As you answer the question, watch carefully what happens. Oh, there are loads of reasons popping into my thoughts. Raven Eye began to feel lighter as the appreciating thoughts popped in, and was fascinated to see, as each thought popped in, a Fearinome soldier floating over to his genius self and pulling out a tiny magnet from its gun holster. What's happening? He laughed, feeling lighter and lighter as more and more soldiers floated over to the little boat. "Answer the question and watch," chuckled the Major, clearly enjoying the scene unfolding before him. "It provides shelter for me." A fearing-gnome soldier pointed its magnet towards the battleships, and some of the children began floating towards the little boat. "It's lovely and cosy in the winter because we have a big open fire, which I love." More fearing-gnome soldiers pointed their magnets at the battleships, and more children were pulled gently towards Raven Eye's genius self. "It provides me with my own space and a comfy bed. It's in the countryside and I love being so close to nature. I've great friends nearby and the villagers are so friendly and kind." Raven Eye felt himself drifting into a blissful daydream as he had more and more appreciating thoughts. "Keep watching, Raven Eye." The Major's voice gently floated into his thoughts. "What you are seeing is those parts of your true power that had separated from your genius self to fight in the conflict, and now they are returning, magnetized back by your appreciating thoughts." The Major smiled with satisfaction as he observed progress. "Gosh, look, the children are merging back into my genius self. He doesn't look so shriveled anymore, and I can see a faint light glowing around him." "Absolutely, dear chap. He is growing and glowing with the power that you are retrieving. So, let's have more appreciating thoughts, eh? What else do you have, Raven Eye?" "My mum!" shouted Raven Eye without even thinking. "And why are you so grateful for your mum?" The Major smiled knowingly. "Oh my goodness, I've never had these types of thoughts before, and now they are all washing over me like a huge wave." Raven Eye's face softened and lit up. "She cooks lovely meals. She gives me hugs when I'm upset. She puts up with my grumpy moods and doesn't hold it against me. She helps me with my schoolwork. She reads to me. She washes my clothes. She keeps the house clean. Wow, there is so much she does for me. I've only just realised how grateful I am." A tear sprang from Raven Eye's eye, and his face softened further as he watched more and more children being magnetised back to his genius self with each appreciating thought. "And now do you see how your wanting thoughts and not wanting thoughts took the power away from your genius self? And how simple it is to retrieve that power?" "Yes, I do," Raven Eye answered with honesty and humility. "And look at my genius self. Looks like he's wearing a golden cloak." He stared in wonderment, watching the aura of light grow around his genius self. "Yes, your true power is weaving its way back into your genius self. Your capability is being regenerated. Well done, dear boy. Oh," the Major focused his attention back onto Raven Eye. "How are you feeling right now? Notice anything different?" "Wow, I feel much lighter now." Looking down at his body, Raven Eye noticed why. Some of the chainmail armour had gone. "No wonder I feel lighter. The protective cloak is starting to disappear." The Major knelt ceremoniously in front of Raven Eye and held out a shimmering strip of golden cloth. "And here is your replacement. You created this with your learnings. Allow me to present you with your first stripe of capability. You have learned how to transform conflict into calm. You certainly have earned your stripes today." Raven Eye gently lifted the capability stripe and placed it over his shoulder, suddenly feeling very tired after all the action and adventure. He smiled sleepily at Major Fairy Gnome. "Ah, yes, time for some R&R, rest and recuperation for you, dear boy. You have completed your basic training and passed with flying colours. Bravo!" The last thing Raven Eye heard before drifting into a blissful, calm sleep were the tiny cheers of the tiny Fairy Gnome soldiers. "Raven Eye, dinner's ready." A familiar voice jolted Raven Eye awake. "It's your favourite, roast beef and Yorkshire pudding." The familiar voice wafted up from the kitchen, together with the blissful smell of Sunday roast dinner. "Oh, thanks, Mum." And this time Raven Eye truly meant it. "I'm coming." As Raven Eye leapt to his feet and dashed towards the door, a shimmer of gold in the corner of the bedroom caught his eye. A voice washed through him like a wave. "See you at sea, dear boy."